Hi everyone. Welcome to today's live stream. You guys, when I tell you how excited I am, I'm so excited. So you guys asked for skincare and I have brought you the best of the best. So today I am so thrilled to welcome Penn Smith, the creator behind Penn Smith Skincare. Penn is a master and advanced esthetician with more than 20 years in the beauty industry. Her professional training includes lasers, light therapy, and medical grade aesthetic procedures. And that's what I really want to know a lot about. Through her popular YouTube channel and social platforms, Penn helps women, especially those of us over 50, 40, 60, 70, you name it, she's got us covered. And she helps us understand skincare products, at-home devices, and professional treatments so we can make informed decisions and age on our own terms. Because you know what I always say, we're going to age gracefully on this channel, but we can kick and scream along the way sometimes. So I'm so glad you guys are here. Please welcome my guest, Penn. Let her know where you're coming in from. We're going to cover all of your guys' favorite topics today, from dry skin to textured skin, loss of firmness, enlarged pores, age spots, all the things that you guys have mentioned are of concern to you. So we're going to take your questions live while we've got somebody of Penn's expertise here. And we're going to chit chat along the way. So do me a big favor. Let me know in the comments where you're coming in from. Last time I asked what dessert you guys were eating, and some people in the comments thought that that was encouraging bad behavior. Whatever, can't please everyone. So just tell me where you're coming from. Like, where are you in the country or in the world? I know we get a lot of you from Australia. I hope you guys are here today. UK, France. I hope you guys make it in today. So Penn, my friend, hello.
Hello.
So glad you're here today.
I'm so excited to be here. I love having these chats.
Aren't they fun to get to
interact? It's really fun. This is such a great opportunity. I hope some of my peeps are going to come over from Instagram and from my YouTube channel, because I would love for them to be introduced to you if they aren't already. And I just love the opportunity to actually talk to people in real time. It's the best part of this job.
It is. You're right. It's hard as a content creator to create videos all the time and not get the feedback and just feel like you're talking to a camera. So to be able to interact like this is so much fun. And yes, if you guys are here from Penn's YouTube or from her Instagram, please say hi. We're so glad you guys could join us. And I was really excited how many people did reach out once Penn started talking that she was going to be on this channel. So really excited to meet all of you. Thank you so much. When I have skincare issues, I look on Penn's channel and search it, and that's where I come up with my answer. So I am not a skincare person. I'm really more on the beauty makeup side. So I'm glad to have her. So Penn, will you start by just giving us a quick review of your background?
So I actually started in hair. I was a hairstylist I still technically am a hairstylist. I'm a kitchen hairstylist now, but I started in hair. I've been doing hair for like 20 some years, 23, 24 years. And from hair, I went into aesthetics and became a licensed esthetician. And I was also teaching hair extensions. I did that for a long time. And then I really just transitioned completely into aesthetics in 2017. And so I went back to school here in the state of Oregon, because I know obviously you're in Washington. Here in the state of Oregon, you can get an advanced license in aesthetics. And so I did that. That is how I got my training in lasers and light and chemical peels and microneedling and all of those things. And I was working in a clinic for years until the pandemic, and then we got closed down. And then I went full-time on YouTube doing education, and I absolutely love it. I definitely still do. In fact, on Monday, I'm back in the clinic, but I still do some of that. But I really love the opportunity to talk to lots of people and interact all day long about skincare and the fun stuff like makeup and that kind of thing. But skincare is just my jam. I literally could eat, breathe, and live skincare all day long. I find it so fascinating. So it's kind of a dream to get to do this and to chat with other people who are so into the same kind of things.
Yeah. Well, Penn, I love your background because it just shows how in depth you like to go, and that you're not just a content creator who just like tries products and throws them on to try to sell stuff. Like, you go really in depth. I've watched a lot of your videos. and you really understand what ingredients work so well on our more mature skin. And you guys, I won't share Penn's age, but I will tell you that she is has mature skin, but she takes such good care of it. She looks like she's in her 30s, which is why I trust when she says something. I'm like, oh, let me buy that right now, because clearly it's working. So,
well, Jody, I have to say though, I've done everything in the kitchen sink. So to really put it out there, I am definitely not the friend that isn't going to be the enabler when it comes to in-office procedures and skincare and devices and all of the things. So just to put that out there.
I love that about you. So let's start there. Let's start with, if somebody just wants, like, what is one of the latest devices or treatments that you can get for the skin, like now? Like, what's something new that offices are offering that you're like, oh, this is low downtime, good results, lasts a while? Like, do you have something that you're like, okay, this is good?
So we're talking in office.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple things. Number one, and this isn't super new or anything like that, but there are laser treatments that are, like, for example, the clinic where I worked, they offer something called a 3D miracle. It's a very superficial type of laser treatment that has a very low downtime, but you get this amazing, probably a deep exfoliation of the really outer layers of your skin. So you get kind of a glow, you get rid of some of that surface pigment that might be hanging around from summertime, stuff like that. There are things like that, like Clear and Brilliant. They've been around for a little while, but they're really effective, and they are lower downtime than even like IPL and, you know, that kind of thing. So I highly recommend that, especially if you've got an event or something to go to and you don't have like a week to be down. But something that's new, the thing that I'm actually going to on Monday, I'm going to an all-day class for quantum Morpheus. And it is super duper interesting. And from what I understand, it has a lot to do with fat removal and skin tightening all at once. And I'm sure I'm going to learn so much more. I'm probably going to do content on it. I'm not getting it done, but I do think that it might be one of these like next gen things that's going to be really interesting for like submental, maybe gels, you know, maybe the banana rolls underneath our butt cheeks, you know, stuff like that. So I will report back, because it's a very, very exciting device that's really, really new on the market. And there's not a lot of them here. You probably have at least a provider or two in Seattle, because you guys are bigger than us. But that one's got me really, really excited. That would not be in low downtime. I'm sure that's at least a week of, you know, swelling and whatnot. But it sounds like it's a big payoff for for the downtime that you do have.
Yeah, that sounds super exciting. Oh, okay. Well, if you need like a test dummy to work
right
on, then just call me. We're only 3 hours away. I can be there this afternoon.
Yeah.
We have our first question from Jen. Is there an in-office treatment to tighten skin? I have laxity from losing 200 pounds. Well, first of all, congratulations. I hope that is something that you set out to do and not a, you know, medical reason that you lost it and didn't mean to. So great on you. I know that's never easy. So you're wanting to tighten some skin. So Jen, let's see what Penn has to say.
Okay, so here's the thing. I will echo Jody's sentiment of congratulations, assuming that this was something that, you know, that's an amazing accomplishment if that's what you were set out to do. I will tell you that there is no device that is going to completely tighten the skin. What I would say is, in office, that can be like the icing on the cake. So usually when people have lost a significant amount of weight, the skin that is loose, the elasticity in the skin is often pulled to its limit. And there isn't a lot of, you have an excess of skin now. And so you have to have skin removal typically. And then what you can do is then you can do some lasers that are going to help with collagen stimulation and stuff like that, to do kind of like the final work, help with texture, help certainly if there's any scarring, stuff like that. But something that I would really say to you is, if you were to go into any office and they're like, yeah, $10,000 and we will get you all tightened up, it's not true. So I think that that's actually more important to know than to tell you what you can do. Is don't let anybody sell you what won't work. You might as well, if it's the thing that you would want to do, save for the surgery, because that's what's actually going to give you the results. If you don't want to do that, then I would say just rock this accomplishment that is so amazing. And, but don't let somebody sell you like a laser treatment, because it's probably going to be underwhelming for you. I hate to answer it like that, but it's
No,
true. I
yeah,
mean, it's
honest
amazing to me, some of the marketing that I see out of clinics that talk about skin tightening. Lots of devices will tighten the skin, but it's always going to be relatively subtle, and it's never going to be like a surgical tightening. You know what I mean? That is a whole different ballpark. And so it's really important to have the right expectations, I guess.
Jen, thank you so much for that question. She said it took 20 years and she did intend to lose the weight. And so congratulations. So I think
That
based
is
on
so
what you just
cool.
said,
Oh my God. That is
isn't that-
honestly, that gives me goosebumps. I think that's so amazing.
yeah,
I
that's
bet your
good
knees
for you,
feel so
Jen.
much better too.
Yeah, and she just said she's going to go maybe a facelift then instead. So Jen, good for you. We support
Yeah,
you
good for
doing
you.
whatever you want to do. All right,
That's right.
Nikki, did I just see a question come up from Nikki real quick? Nikki, I'm so glad you're here. I think you missed my last couple lives. I'm so glad. Oh, I can't wait to hear what you think about the quantum treatment. Okay. Nikki
Oh, yeah.
is one of my subscribers, and she knows her makeup. So she knows skincare too, it sounds like.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
Penn, what do you say about one of the questions I get asked a lot about is age spots. So is there a product or maybe it's an and instead of an or, in-home treatment or in-office treatment that you would recommend for age spots to lighten them, and do they ever truly go away?
Okay, so yes, 100%. Now, this is the thing that you can actually tackle at home and definitely also in office. But I would say that if you're going to ever try to alleviate dark spots, whether it's melasma or literal sunspots, age spots, that kind of thing, really all of them are just an overactivity of melanin. And basically the melanocyte is shooting off a bunch of melanin, and it's getting concentrated in one spot and not a lot around it. So it looks like a spot. It looks, different from the skin around it. So what is happening there is that, let's say there is an enzyme in your skin called tyrosinase. And I'm only going to say that one time. And you're going to remember that enzyme is like a director in a factory that walks out onto the factory floor and tells all the factory workers to make pigment. And the only time those factory workers are going to make that pigment is when that factory manager goes out and says that. And if that factory manager can't get out to the floor to tell those factory workers to make that pigment, they won't do it. So what you want to do at home is you want to do anything you can to block that factory manager from making it out to the floor. So there are products on the market that will do that. Coleman compound is absolutely incredible. It has an enzyme activated arbutin, which is called arbutase. And it is really, really, really good at basically keeping that manager in his office so he never gets out to the factory floor. So those factory workers just sit there and they never make extra pigment. And so you never see a spot, right? You've got ingredients that you can look for in your skincare that are amazing, like niacinamide. Niacinamide is so fantastic. It's gotten such a bad rap because it's been put into a lot of things, but it is an ingredient in skincare that is really helpful in disrupting the actual handoff to pigment to the skin cells. So if the pigment can't make it out to the surface, we never see it. We never see the dark spot. Also, the number one thing, and this is going to sound so boring, is SPF. I mean, the reality is, every single time, because I have pigmentation, I get red, and I am a freckly Irish person, and I have age spots, like literal age spots. Every time I get really diligent with my SPF, like really diligent, and I use the amount that I should and all of that, I notice that my skin gets brighter without changing any of the other stuff that I do, like the big guns, like, my retinoids and all of that stuff. So SPF is just incredibly important that it happens every single day, even if, just every single day out of habit, that kind of thing. But
Wow.
yes, you can absolutely 100%, you can clear pigmentation. I mean, at home, you definitely can.
Okay. So what sunscreen do you use then? Because I love the fact that you're just using something that you would use anyway, and you're seeing some results from like your skin looking better from pigmentation.
Yes.
So what do you have a sunscreen you would recommend?
Yes. Okay. I have a few. I have to admit that my favorites are typically K Beauty, J Beauty, European, because they have better filters. Good news is we just had a new SPF filter that got approved, and I think we're going to start seeing it in some of our skincare, certainly in 2027, but I think some of them are going to roll it out into their products in the end of 2026. And the reason why that's so important is I don't think we've had a new SPF filter approved in like 20 years. And so we're finally kind of starting to step into, modern times like our friends across the pond and all of that. But setting that aside, I really like the Tatcha sunscreen. It's expensive. I'm going to put that out there. It is expensive, but it's super duper lightweight and it just feels like you have nothing on your skin. And I feel like it makes your skin almost look better, like a beautiful moisturizer. And it's really pretty under makeup. So I would say that is a good one. I also saw that Angie, Hot and Flashy, our queen, she recommends CeraVe, the mineral version. And I've ordered it and it's going to come in like a week or something like that. But that's definitely one. I have great confidence that if Angie recommended it, that it's probably going to be really, really good. And also, side note, anybody, I'm sure everybody here would be following Angie, but she does these sunscreen like showdowns every year where she tests all these different sunscreens. And I swear every single year I get the best sunscreen recommendations from her. And that's one of them, that's CeraVe. And it's totally affordable. So Tatcha on the high end, CeraVe on the affordable side. Those would probably be my two. Tatcha does have a fragrance, so that's important to call out. But those would probably be the two that I think are the best on both ends of the spectrum.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And I have to pause for a second because Jen, who you just answered that question for, gave a super chat of $49.99.
What?
Jen, thank you
Aw.
so much. You did not have to do that. Really appreciate that. That's so
Wow.
kind of you. We're just here to support you. So I'm glad we were able to answer
Yeah.
your questions. The other question she has is French Pharmacy or K Beauty? I think this goes back to our sunscreen question. Do you have a
Okay.
preference?
Oh, that's so hard. Okay. Okay. I have a special affection for Paris. So I'm gonna say French Pharmacy because there's so much else at the French Pharmacy. But K Beauty is probably actually even better. I mean, the reality is the Korean men and women, it's not just women, have an entirely different level of care for their skin than we do. I don't know. It is. I went to Seoul last October and I was just blown away by their advancement and it's incredible. So I prefer the French Pharmacy just because I absolutely love it. I feel like I could set up a tent there, but probably for efficacy, probably K Beauty.
K Beauty. Okay. All right. Let's talk about loss of firmness. Like I know I have loss of firmness. If I could just have this pulled back slightly, that would be awesome. But I don't know that it can be without having like PDO threads or something random. So
Right.
is there something women can do to help with the loss of, volume?
Okay, so there's a couple of things. I think that yes, we can definitely do things that are going to help with elastin. Elastin is obviously not obviously. Elastin is the thing. It is a fiber that gives us kind of the bounce, right? And what we want is to support our elastin. If you think about your elastin like a rubber band, when it starts to like stretch out and stretch out, if we could just get it to not get, like a hairband that's been used way too many times, kind of thing. So there are some things that you can do that can help to support the elastin that you already have, so that you don't lose any more elasticity, like peptides, lots and lots of peptides, copper peptides in particular. However, I will say that there's always a debate on copper peptides as to whether or not the molecule is too big to actually get into your skin to do anything. I am a person who studies all kinds of science and I look at all the white papers and I do all of that, and I'm still going to try everything. I'm still going to be like, well, I'll take my chances. Copper peptides is one of those. If copper peptides can actually get in and do their job, They're incredible for helping with wound healing and also helping with protecting our elastin and lowering inflammation and all kinds of things that contribute to the loss of or to laxity and that kind of thing. So peptides in general, they're messengers that are going to go in and help our skin to behave and do things that we want it to do. As far as like devices and stuff like that, I think that people should Google and look up things like CO2. There's actually some evidence that CO2, obviously that is an in-office thing, can remodel your skin completely and like turn back the clock. It's a little bit obviously more downtime and stuff like that. But if somebody was really serious and they definitely did not want to do any kind of surgical stuff, then I would look into some of the laser treatments that are a little bit more invasive. They're going to be either fractional, which means they ablate some and leave some skin non-touched kind of, or ablative, which would be like CO2. And yeah, you're definitely going to get like a regeneration of your skin. It will tighten it and that kind of thing. But at home, I would say peptides. Peptides are the way to go. And again, you have to buy into, okay, I'm going to, either you're going to buy into it does what it's supposed to do and it gets there, or you're going to stick with just retinoids and SPF. I happen to be of the camp of like, I'll just try everything. I'll try everything and hope it works. You know what I mean? I'm serious. I mean, some things I obviously know. I'm like, oh, that's a gimmick. That's silly. I really do. But lots of things, if they're on the fence, I'm like, why not? I'll try
Yeah.
that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, we have a question from Susan Jackson who says, what do you think about the injectable peptides for collagen production? And then also supplements that you drink?
Okay. So as far as the injectable peptides, I feel like it's kind of the Wild West. I feel like we have to be very, very careful. There is almost like an epidemic of people buying things and injecting themselves when I don't even know if they completely know. Now, if you go into a clinic and it's a provider that you trust, I suppose that's different. I would still be wary because I think so many of these peptides, I don't even know if any of them are approved or, that kind of thing. Setting aside approvals and stuff like that, 100%. I think that they could be absolutely amazing. I just feel like we need a little bit more of like consistency in the market. Like if you went to one place, you should get the same thing as if you went to the other place. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But is there potential there? Heck yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of testimonials, if you will, about injectable copper peptides. I mean, it sounds incredible. I've never done it myself because I'm kind of like, oh, it feels like the Wild West. I'm not going to inject myself with anything unless I'm 100% know that it's safe, and that kind of thing. But there's potential there, lots of potential there. As far as supplements, I think that mostly it gives us incredible expensive pee.
Okay. Done that. Done that.
Now, I will tell you, I drink collagen peptides every single day. It also has hyaluronic acid in it, and then it has a whole host of amino acids. I feel like that's another one that I feel like my joints feel better. I don't know that I've noticed a difference in my skin or my hair because I do everything. So it's hard to pinpoint that. But I definitely know that since I have been drinking collagen peptides, which has been a few years now, I feel like inside my joints and stuff definitely feels better. And in my Facebook group and in my community, I hear people all the time talk about how they feel better. And I believe that if that's your feeling, there has to be some manifestation in the biggest organ, which is our skin, that kind of thing. That said, I think it's another one where it's kind of the Wild West and you have to be discerning with some of, there's just a gazillion supplements on the market. And I think a lot of them are probably not worth it. And, some might be. So you really have to research the specific one that you want to try.
And you guys, we're going to have some links in the description box of this live stream once it goes live of some of Penn's favorites from questions that you guys are asking. So if I forget to ask her which one, then just know that we'll have all those linked for you so you can find what she's researched and has worked for her. Can you tell us a little bit about your skin? So when we're looking at some of the particulars, do you have combination skin? Do you have oily skin? Do you have dry skin? None of the above, all the above?
So I have normal to dry dehydrated skin, and I kind of always have. I mean, I look back, even when I was in my mid 20s, my skin was a little bit dehydrated. And, you know, it has nothing to do with how much water I drink or anything like it's just who I am. It's just my makeup. And that's kind of where I tend to, you know, I'm always in search of the thing. And it's really helped me quite a bit with me as a maturing adult because I've kind of dealt with the dehydration and the dryness that is now really prevalent in perimenopause. And as I approach menopause, I'm like, I've been dealing with the same stuff for a really long time. I would say that my main thing has been pigmentation. I have had horrible hyperpigmentation. When I started my YouTube channel, one of my first videos which was almost 10 years ago now, but was all about trying to get rid of my hyperpigmentation. And so that has been a big focus of mine, but definitely dry and dehydrated skin. And I'm definitely aging along with everybody else. You know, I'm going to be 53 in November. And so I know that, you know, I understand when somebody talks about crepey skin, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what that is. I know how this skin looks right here when you accidentally open your camera and you're looking down. Like I get all of that. And I think some of that is really helpful with both of us have that audience, you know, because all of us, if we're so lucky, are going to have a little bit of crepey skin on our arms. Are going to have a little crepey skin, you know, it's going to happen. Yeah. I do too.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I've loved about you is that you age gracefully, but you're always willing to try new stuff that comes out and never hide it from your audience, which that authenticity that you show is so important. And I really value you for that.
Well, you know, that's funny because truthfully, I feel like graceful is whatever each and every woman makes it, you know? My version of graceful is X, Y, and Z, and that's how I want to age. And I absolutely love, my sister has long white hair that we haven't colored since I worked in a salon. And she's never had Botox. And I love her face. I love her hair. I love everything about her. And I love how she's choosing to age. But this is just not my path. So for me, it's really about everybody gets to age however they want. And I will just be here to be a cheerleader and be like, oh, you want only, you know, you don't want everyone to color your hair, but you want to know how to keep your hair the healthiest. Okay, this is what I think you can do. You know what I mean? Yes. And, but I'm not ashamed of anything that I've ever done. I mean, I'm like, why would I be? It's me. It's my own thing. You know, it's my own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love that about you. When we first met, I'll just share with the audience real fast. When Penn and I first met, she was so open about just different stuff that she had tried. And I had said, well, I was thinking about doing this. And she goes, oh my gosh, you're going to love that. Where some creators that I've met are just very hush hush about what they've done. And I just always thought that, you know, to each their own. I'm not here to tell anybody how to share with their audience or don't share or do it, don't do it. I respect people do what they really want. I just really appreciated that you're like, yeah, this is me. This is what I've done. And I just love that about you. So let's talk about hyperpigmentation, because that was one that you just said you suffered with. And I do get questions about this on my channel when I do a skincare video, which is not often because I stay in my lane. I know where I'm good and I know what I don't know. And I don't know a lot about skincare, which is why I'm so glad that I have you on speed dial. So let's talk about hyperpigmentation. Like, what did you do to sort of get rid of it or keep it at bay, manage it however you did? Because your skin looks absolutely flawless. And are there products that women can purchase on their own at home to help along their journey?
Yes. Okay. So in the beginning, when I first started my channel, I was in clinic. I was working in clinic and I was an Obagi esthetician. And I'm talking original Obagi, the original Dr. Zane Obagi. And he had a system called New Derm. And essentially that system was using a retin-A, using hydroquinone, which is a pigment inhibitor. That is a very strong a factory manager blocker. So it's amazing, hydroquinone, but it is prescription. And, it comes with some caveats and stuff like that. And then you also used an acid exfoliant in the morning. And so it had this real, and obviously SPF, it had this real like 1, 2, 3 punch. So you're blocking the new pigment from forming at night at the root of the cause of this hyperpigmentation. You're trying to move cells along faster, which is what the retinoid is doing. That's what your tretinoin or your retinol, your retinaldehyde, any of the retinoids, any of them, their entire job is just to speed up cellular turnover, which as we get older, it slows down. When we were 25, we saw fresh new skin every 28 days. Now it's probably every 40, 43 days, something like that. So when you're trying to work on something, it's slower unless you introduce a retinoid. A retinoid is going to help to move those cells faster. So if you're treating the root cause and you get to see those great new cells faster, you will get clearance faster. Then that alpha hydroxy acid in the morning that you would use, that was helping to just take off, loosen up and take off, lift off the surface pigment that you're already looking at. So that system, I mean, I got to say, it was miraculous for me. I remember, and then I spent my career after that trying to mimic that with products that people could either buy at the drugstore or even anywhere, Sephora or obviously medical grade, anywhere. If they didn't want that specific system, or if they didn't want to go get a prescription or whatever, I'm like, how do I copy that so that everybody and anybody could get those results? Might be a little slower, it could be, but if somebody can't afford to do that or whatever, it's really just categories. It didn't have to be that specific product. You know what I mean? Okay. And so there's lots of different products that will fill the same categories as that system that completely changed my skin. I mean, my skin today definitely looks better than my skin did 10 years ago. And I'm not talking about lift. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about skin quality and hyperpigmentation and clarity and stuff like that. And that's from skincare, which is pretty awesome because everybody can do that. Skincare is something that is accessible to everyone. Not everybody wants to go into a clinic. Not everybody's going to ever have surgery or could afford it or would want to. And so it's really cool when we can actually make change, a really good change with skincare that everybody can actually afford and do, So, yeah. Which I think is exciting. I think that's super cool.
And I think the drugstore products, and you tell me if you agree, have come a long way. So it is
Huge.
More affordable for people that maybe don't want to spend a fortune, or they're not, they don't want to spend it because they're not really sure what to buy. And you can go into some of these med spas and get recommended a lot of products, and then you're $300 into it and you're not really even sure what you just purchased.
Yes.
So if somebody is listening and they're like, okay, I need to do something with my more mature skin, and everybody's got their own problems with their mature skin, right? It's either hyperpigmentation or it's texture or it's age spots or enlarged pores. But if somebody's listening, they're like, okay, I really need to hunker down on my skincare and I really can only go to the drugstore. Are there like 3 or 4 products that you'd say, I would start with these with just mature skin in general without knowing that, and then how do they decide, okay, I have mature skin plus, what are a few other things that I should be thinking? Like, does everybody need a vitamin C? Does everybody need a retinol?
No, and need is a funny word, but if we're going to say that you want to tackle something, then yes, I'm going to say not the vitamin C necessarily, but a retinoid, I would argue, is super important for anybody who's over 40. And the reason for that is that cellular turnover. You will get results if you don't use a retinoid, and some people can't. So it isn't all lost if you can't use a retinoid. It'll just be slower. That's the thing. The retinoid speeds up the process. And as anybody knows, if you have a goal, you would like to clear your hyperpigmentation. If it took you 3 months to do it, then maybe at about 6 or 7 weeks, you're like, this is not working. You know what I mean? Whereas if you have a retinoid on board and you start to see a little glimmer of results after 5 weeks, because it does take time, nothing's going to happen overnight. Like that's nothing. Doesn't matter what you start using unless you go do a laser treatment. You know what I mean? Nothing with skincare. It takes time and consistency. But at least if you get a retinoid on board, in 5 weeks, you start to go, hey, that looks a little bit more clear. And then you're motivated to keep doing it. So I definitely think a retinoid is super important. I can highly recommend at the drugstore. CeraVe, believe it or not, has a really beautiful retinol, and it's encapsulated, so it keeps it more stable. It is a little bit less irritating. But another one that's really, really good is Remedy. Remedy, that line for me is like knocking my socks off constantly. But they have a product called Remedy for dark spots. And in that product, it has almost everything. It has a retinoid, it has a retinol, and it has salicylic acid, which is a beta hydroxy acid that's going to help with all kinds of things. It'll help brighten the skin. It helps with lowering inflammation, which inflammation can trigger certain kinds of hyperpigmentation like melasma. So salicylic acid is great just to lower everything, but it's also an exfoliant. So it's going to help to get rid of and lift off surface pigment. It has in it, I believe it has ascorbic acid in there. I believe it's ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C. So it's almost like an all-in-one. It's not super cheap. It's $35 or something like that, but it's several steps in one thing. And you just use it at night and you've got all these different things. So it's a great option at the drugstore for sure. And then I would say, do you need a vitamin C? You asked. No, you don't have to have a vitamin C, but the deal with vitamin C is that part of, or a big part of the reason why we do have hyperpigmentation is because of UV damage. So UV rays hit our skin and they damage our collagen, first of all, which is a separate thing. And they also cause something called oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is because of the production of free radicals. I like to think of them as the little gremlins. You know, I'm old enough to know about that movie, but the gremlins, when they would get water on them and they would turn into like the little terrible, that's free radicals that are just sitting there wanting to damage crap. They're just wanting to make havoc. Vitamin C and other antioxidants have the ability to turn that gremlin back into the little cute stuffed animal and make it, you know, so they neutralize those free radicals that are doing all kinds of damage. So do you need to have that? No. But what that is doing is helping you greatly to not incur more hyperpigmentation. So the stuff that you're doing at night can get ahead. So you don't need it, but it's going to be a great tool to help you make progress.
Okay. Would you fairly say that it almost amplifies whatever treatment you're working on?
100%.
Okay.
And there are also people who can't use vitamin C. So I will also say that mostly that's people can't use L-ascorbic acid. So like the regular old gold standard active vitamin C. If that is you, you can look at the derivatives. That's a big word for all the other vitamin Cs. Literally all the other vitamin Cs are the derivatives. And then if you just can't use vitamin C at all, just look for antioxidants. So astaxanthin is really good. Glutathione, superoxide dismutase. These all sound like big fancy words, but believe it or not, nowadays brands are getting smart and they're putting those things into their daytime products. If you have at least an antioxidant on board in the morning, it doesn't have to be vitamin C. That's just a studied antioxidant, and so we go with that one, you know. But there are definitely people. I can't use ascorbic acid. I turn pink. I turn pink easily. And I turn extra pink with ascorbic acid. So I'm always on the hunt for other antioxidants that will do that same job, but that my skin will like. But I would definitely say it's a good idea to have that on board, and always SPF.
Okay. Yes. Always SPF for sure. Okay. Let's talk about, so what other like drugstore products would you say, okay, if you're kind of just starting out on a starter kit, we've got our vitamin C. If you feel like you need it is the right word. If you want to incorporate it to help your process along, a retinoid, which I think this one from Remedy sounds great, especially for dark spots. What about cleansers? When we talk about cleansers for more mature skin, I've read that like a foaming cleanser is better. Is it more gentle? What do you think? Does the formula make that big of a difference?
100%. So we have, I'm sure most people that are interested in skincare have heard of our barrier. And it's one of those terms that gets tossed around all the time to where I think people almost tune it out. But we have this, we have a barrier that is made up of it's made up of our skin cells and a bunch of stuff in between those skin cells that basically keeps bad stuff out and it keeps water in. And when that barrier, that little brick and mortar wall of, the invisible wall that we can't see, when that is intact, everything else that's going on underneath, our collagen, elastin, the process of melanogenesis, so melanin production, all of that happens more efficiently, effectively, and kind of just more in a healthy manner when that brick wall is disrupted. So your skin is maybe red, flaky, irritated, inflamed, that kind of thing. A lot of those processes, they get set to the side while our body is trying to repair the barrier. So anything that you can do to not disrupt that barrier or to help keep it happy is a good thing. And that includes cleansing your skin. Cleansing your skin is the very first place where we can damage our barrier. Those brick and mortar is held together partially by lipid stuff. So anytime that you use something too harsh, you can damage the mortar that sits between those bricks. So my preference as I've gotten older is definitely cream cleansers that don't leave me dry and tight. Now, if you want to use a foaming cleanser, just don't use one that strips your skin. And the way that you can figure that out is when you wash your face, after you've rinsed and pat dry, give yourself 15 to 30 seconds. Does your skin feel like it just tightens up? Because if it does, that's not a good cleanser for you. That tightening is your skin losing water. And we do that all day long. It's something called transepidermal water loss. It's just happening right now. My skin is losing water. A compromised barrier loses way more water. We don't want that. We want to keep all of that hydration in our skin as much as possible. So choosing the right cleanser is super important. So if you want recommendations, I can highly recommend Prequel. Prequel makes a wonderful cleanser called Glenser. It's their original cleanser. And the reason why it's really great is that it kind of fulfills a foaming capacity because it does foam just a little bit. It's a low foam, but it's 50% glycerin. Glycerin is a humectant that is so underrated. It's such a fantastic ingredient. And because it has that 50% glycerin, you get a really nice cleanse, but it doesn't strip your skin. So that is, and it comes in this giant bottle. And it's like $18, but I mean, it's a giant bottle. It's the kind of bottle that'll last. You could use it on your whole body for months and you wouldn't go through it all. I mean, it'd take a long time. So that's a good recommendation. They have that at Target. Obviously they have it on Prequel, but they have, you can literally walk into Target, which I love recommending stuff where people, because I love to go, I don't know about you, but I love to go and look and feel and touch and, put it in my cart and along with the plants and the 2 towels and, the laundry detergent and everything. But so Prequel and then Remedy. I'm going to say it again because, and I swear to God, they don't pay me, but Remedy is another one. They have a cleansing balm that is just so, so good. And there are Inky List just reformulated their oat cleanser and I haven't actually tried it. So I shouldn't, but I'm putting it out there because it's super affordable. And I think they listened to people because it was good before, but there were some downsides. It would be the perfect calming cream cleanser because oat is very calming and at a really affordable price. So it's something to actually just check out. Look at the reviews.
Okay. I love that. I've got such a long list right now. So you guys, we only have Penn for like 20 more minutes. So make sure you're shooting us your questions so that we can get as many of your guys' questions answered as possible. So Jan out of Canada, what about home tools? Which do you recommend? Is Zip Halo really worth the cost? Thanks.
Okay, so at home tools, I'm going to tell you, I'm mostly a skeptic. I've tried them all. Well, not all, but I've tried a lot of them. Right now, I'm actually using the Tria, which is kind of a fractional long wavelength laser. And I've been testing it out for several months and I've noticed a really big improvement in the texture of my skin. So that one definitely gets my approval. I am somebody who 1000% loves LED. I used it in clinic. The doctor that I worked with used it in clinic. And I just think that LED is one of the most amazing tools that we have. I do think it's really important to choose well because some like LED masks or panels might not be as good as others. As far as the Zip is concerned, I have used the Zip let's see, I think for 8 years now, and I absolutely 100% think it's worth the money. I will tell you, just an honest caveat is that Zip has gone through a little bit of turmoil in the last 2 or 3 years, and they've had some trouble with kind of inconsistency in their devices. And so I would say, yes, it is definitely worth it. I think microcurrent, the modality, is 1000% worth it. I love my Zip, but I would definitely proceed with caution on that one, even though the one that I have is wonderful. But Jody, have you seen that too?
I have seen some inconsistencies in that. Yeah. And I have one and I love mine, and because I love that you can get the results like almost instantly. If you have like a special event, you go to the same area twice. It's just like, which looks great. But then yes, of course, maintenance works really well. So I do love it. In terms of the LED face masks, and you and I have never talked about this, but I know which one I really like. And I stole why I like mine because Angie Hot and Flashy does a review, I think every year, every couple of years, on the LED face masks. And she goes so deep into the science. So she chose, I'll tell you what my favorite is and then tell me what yours is. But hers was Current Body. So that's the one I bought. And I love that one. So good. In terms of LED lights, that's the one that I usually recommend on my channel. And I'm sure you get way more. I get probably 1 to 2 emails a week from somebody, some company wanting me to talk about their LED face masks, which makes it really confusing for the consumer because as somebody that's in this business, sifting through all of those different LED masks, trying to find if I would even recommend one is discouraging because some of them have just been created like 2 days ago somewhere overseas. So if you're going to spend the money on an LED face mask, and for me, I think the results are there. I put my money on Current Body, and the people that watch my channel know I think that's the only one I've ever talked about because I just feel like it's so much noise in the beauty space and to the consumer about these LED face masks. And yes, it can be tempting to buy one that's maybe $149, but it's better to save up and buy the one that you know works for your skin. At least that would be my experience. What do you have to say about LED face masks?
So Current Body, I think it was last year, was my absolutely number one LED mask. And for a multitude of reasons. One of the things that they do, which I'm sure you know, is they have something called Veritas, which is really their verification process for ensuring that each and every LED bulb actually fits into the wavelength window. So there are certain wavelengths that are studied, and it's like 630 and 850 and that kind of thing. And these studies, and there are thousands of studies. This is not like this is a modality that is very, very well studied, but the studies are on those specific wavelengths. Well, you could buy a mask that says it has these wavelengths, but really it's plus or minus 20 on the wavelength. They're very loosey-goosey about it. And if you're not actually getting the wavelength that they're saying you're getting, you're not going to possibly get the results out of the studies that they're referencing. Current Body kind of guarantees that they are offering you those exact wavelengths. I love that. I don't think anybody else, and I mean, they literally have this almost like a streamlined thing where it would check the bulb and it either went in the thing or it went, they really check all of the LEDs. I absolutely love that. I also love that mask. I'm assuming you have series 2.
Yes.
I just feel like it's the cushiest, most comfortable. I just love the fit of that mask. I also love that they have the 1072 in that mask. I think that Current Body, they're a tech company. So, they're constantly researching. They have a team of engineers, all of the things. I was just on the phone with them yesterday, and I was on the phone with one of the engineers, and I got to tell you, they're wizards. I mean, it's impressive. So yeah, I would agree with you. I think you've got an amazing mask. And I think that, we're heading into fourth quarter. And so I have a feeling we're going to start seeing some new innovations and stuff like that. So I would say to people, right this second is probably not the time to buy an LED mask. We are on the precipice of everybody offering sales and all of the things. And, I would wait and I'm trying not to give anything away.
No, you're doing so
I would
good.
wait and, peruse the market before you pull the trigger on an LED mask if you've never gotten one before.
Okay, you guys, Pin is very sought after by many skincare companies. So if she has some insider information, of course she won't tell us, but that was very good. I would hold off and wait. It's sort of like the
Yeah.
new iPhone. My iPhone is like a 14 and I
Yeah,
want so bad to get a new one, but I know as soon as I do, the 18 is going to come
totally.
out. So I'm still rocking my old like 4 or
Yes.
5 ago and I don't even care.
I gotta say, in that same vein, for the people who do already have LED masks, like, if somebody has a good LED mask that they love and is, like, for example, you have a good mask, really shouldn't matter what else comes out right now. If you have a mask that you're getting results, you don't need to go spend the money and get for, the next gen. You just don't need that yet. It's a whole
Mhm.
different story if you want it or you decide to splurge on that or whatever. But I always try to tell people, if you have something that's actually giving you results and you are happy with it, you don't have to buy the next thing yet anyway. You can keep your iPhone 14 for a little bit and wait and see what's coming next. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's important to know that innovation is going to happen every single year. We're going to see new stuff, new exciting stuff. And either we're going to just keep buying new stuff or we're going to say, I like the thing that I have right now. It's giving me results. And so I'm good, that kind
So
of thing.
true. Yeah, so true. I saw a question come up real quick from Kelly. Hi, beautiful Jody and Penn. Penn, do you think that the mini CO2 works as well if you do a series?
Are we talking about like I wonder if she's talking about the cold, like the cold CO2. And I actually do, but you do have to do a series. And so there's a couple pros and cons to that. Obviously, if you do a series, you have three, let's say a series of three, you have a series of 3 different downtimes and it just takes you a little bit longer. But the upside is a genuine CO2. The downtime is like legit downtime. Like
Mhm.
you have to, you want blackout curtains and it's legit. I highly doubt that anything is going to give those same exact results. Like I literally people almost look like they get a new face of skin because they kind of do. But I would say a series of 3 with like cold CO2, which is like CO2 light, definitely will yield 85% to that. And so it's like that might be really worth it to you to never have to go through the crazy downtime of a CO2. I've never done one because and I mean I know those results are insane,
Mhm.
but that downtime is, have you seen that downtime?
I've seen it. I wanted to do one because I knew a creator that did it and she looked
Oh,
fantastic.
it's
But she
incredible.
also journaled the process along the way. And I thought,
Yes,
that downtime was no joke. It was like a
it's
good
no joke.
7 days of just horrific looking skin.
Yeah.
And I don't
But
know
then
that I
I
could
think
do
7 days, you could just get through 7 days. But then, of course, I have teenagers, and I'm just like, I don't think there's ever an actual 7-day period where I don't have to be at the school or
it.
something, and I'm just like, oh, I mean, and you literally look, and you're not supposed to be out in the sun at all. There's all kinds of things. But to answer
Yeah.
the question, I definitely think you won't get the exact same results, but you could get dang close, and you wouldn't have to go through that basically resurfacing your entire face all at once.
Yeah. Fair. Okay. All right. Um, we have a hello from Nancy. Oh, love Pin. Hello, Jody. Nice to meet you. Well, thanks, Nancy, for coming over and following Pin over to my channel. I really appreciate it. I hope you find the
Hey.
videos on beauty and makeup and hair and stuff to your liking. So we'd love to have you in the community. So thanks for coming over. All right, from Ashley, I had a lower facelift 6 months ago. Since then, I've lost 25 pounds from job stress and complications during the recovery from my surgery. Now I have 2 areas of skin laxity with more noticeable. Oh, well, it kept going with more noticeable texture on the other side of my mouth. Do you have any recommendations in office or otherwise that might help reduce the appearance of the laxity and texture in those places? Ashley, that's a great question. Thank you for
That is such
asking.
a great question. So there's a couple things. First of all, no matter what, your surgery isn't going to be like a revision or anything. That wouldn't be for a long time. So you can set that aside anyhow. So I think you're smart to know like what augment could I do to this situation? Texture, 100% you could do some laser treatments. And the truth is those laser treatments probably could give you a little bit of skin tightening that might make you just feel a little bit better about the situation because you've already done the heavy lifting of the lower facelift. Now it sounds like what you might be experiencing just from listening to that is that you feel like maybe it fell a little bit because you lost a little bit of weight. And because honestly, as we get older, fat is our friend on our face and, that kind of thing. But I still do think that you could seek out some kind of laser treatments that will help to tighten that skin just a little bit. And absolutely texture can be addressed. And I do think too, when you address texture and you make your texture look better, if that's something that's bothering you, then you feel better about everything. That's how I was with the hyperpigmentation. Like all I could see was my hyperpigmentation. And so when I addressed that, it was like, wow, I felt so much better all the way around. I think you should tackle something that is tackleable, which is your texture for sure, and get a win. And then you will feel so much better. And then I would say, talk to your surgeon and express your concerns so that you can have a game plan. Maybe you could say, hey, this has happened, and have a game plan if that's in the cards for you, because that could be down the road or something. But I would say tackle the thing that you can tackle now and get a win out of it, which is a laser will definitely help with your texture. So will, if you don't want to spend any more money that way, retinoids. If you are not using a tretinoin, you can even start super low, like 0.025. That will really help your texture. It'll take a little while, but it'll help your texture. And also acids like alpha hydroxy acids. They can make an immense change to texture in not a very long time. And you can just feel better about your skin in general. And that will help. And I know how it can feel when you do something like that and then it's not exactly what you want, or something maybe went wrong or went sideways, and it can be easy to focus on that thing. So I'd say focus on the thing that you can address and get a win under your belt, and you will feel better.
Well, when you talk about lasers, is there a specific laser? Like if anybody thought, what, I do want to address texture. I do have a little bit of money. I want to go in office and do it. I want a faster process. Is it an IPL? Is it a CO2? What type of laser do they ask for? Because it can be intimidating. And I feel like I know a lot. I'm willing to test all of it, but I even go in and feel a little intimidated because there's all the brochures and there's all the pretty pictures and everybody's skin, and you're like, I don't even know where to start.
Yes. Absolutely. So I would say, first of all, IPL is mostly going to address pigmentation or reds. So you're going to get reds and browns. You might get some incidental help with your texture and maybe even some incidental collagen. But an IPL, by the way, is also not a laser. An IPL is actually a light device, which is a separate thing. And so set that aside. That would be if you have a pigmentation issue or if you have broken capillaries or redness and stuff like that. IPL can help with that. And it's kind of the more gentle cousin to a laser, let's say. But if you were going to do a laser, you would want to do one that was either fractionated, most likely fractionated, which means that the laser goes in and it will, for lack of a better word, drill a little laser hole and ablate part of the skin. So kind of annihilate the skin in one little tiny microscopic place. And everything around that is not touched. That's why it's fractionated. So it only gets a fraction of your skin. The reason why people do that is because it's lower downtime. So you hear about like Fraxel. Fraxel can dramatically improve texture. Personally, the clinic where I've worked, they have something called Ultra Clear. It is a fractionated device that goes in and it basically retexturizes the skin. Now, other things like radiofrequency microneedling, which is so controversial, but the reality is that kind of microneedling can actually improve texture, especially, obviously you have to have a practitioner who knows what they're doing. They know about settings and all that. But lasers, I would say look for Fraxel. And Fraxel is kind of the gold standard, in my opinion. And then you can also look at other ones like Ultra Clear. If that's in your area, you can just search it up to see clinics that have Ultra Clear. I've seen incredible improvement in texture. Now at home, my personal experience with the Tria has been incredible. I mean, I walked into this office. I had a mirror in here. This was probably 5 months ago. And I walked in here and all of a sudden I looked in the mirror and I don't know, the light was hitting me funny. And my best friend's a doctor, and I text her and I said, oh my gosh, I've got this texture. Is this menopause? I was like, where did this come from? All of a sudden I was so like, whoa, it was the light and it was a host of things. That's when I started using that Tria. And I just thought, shoot, actually, I take that back. I'd started using the Tria on my forehead alone, but then that is when I decided like, no, we're going to go full face. We're doing this whole thing. And it really was like maybe 6 weeks to 8 weeks later that I was like, okay, my texture is definitely improving. I do not see a change in laxity. I do not see a change in anything else. I just have seen a change in my texture. But for me, that was a really awesome thing to see. I was really excited about that. So that's the one device at home that I would say could possibly help with texture at home.
Okay. And I just looked it up online, and it's TRIA, right?
Yes.
Tria laser. Okay. It looks like they have a laser hair removal one too. Okay.
They have a laser hair removal, and then they have a facial device. I think it's called FRX. I actually have them both. And funny enough, the laser hair removal device that they have, that works really well too. I didn't use it on myself because my hair is blonde. And anytime you're going to use the laser hair removal device at home or in office, you have to have color in the hair. So if you have blonde hairs, gray hairs, whatever on your legs, on, wherever you want to remove hair, it won't work. So don't waste your money. But I have a neighbor who has darker hair on her legs, and her legs were just, pale-ish. And so I did treatments on her about once a week with that Tria laser for hair removal. And it definitely works. I mean, it's like, I wish I had some pigment in my hair so I can use it, but it definitely it's the strongest at-home laser for hair removal that I've ever seen. And I've tried a bunch of them. So on other people. So anyway, side note.
Okay. That's good to know. I'm going to take a look at that one.
Yeah,
so
that's also Tria. I think that's the only 2 devices that Tria has.
Yeah. It looks like it. Their website's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one last question, and then we'll let you go, because I know you have kids coming home from school. Started just yesterday for her kids.
I know. I'm just waiting for kids to walk through the door and make a bunch of noise.
Okay, well, I'll ask one question, then we'll let you go. I'm so grateful for your time. If you were to splurge on a skincare product or device, if you said, all right, guys, one thing, if you're really going to treat yourself and splurge or put on your holiday list, what would that be?
Okay, so I would say if you have pigmentation, I would splurge on Coleman Compound. I cannot express, and I have a video coming on my YouTube channel about hyperpigmentation, and I go through my specific routine. It's coming, I think on the 5th. But the Coleman Compound, I use the pads, and I'm telling you, I've never used anything at home over the counter. And I'm not talking about the prescription stuff. It rivals the prescription stuff. It is so good. That is that enzyme activated arbutin. So arbutin is a pigment inhibitor. So it's the thing that's going to block the factory manager. But enzyme activated arbutin is called arbutase, and it's like a brick wall to that factory manager. So the manager definitely is not getting out to spur extra pigment. And it's incredible. It's expensive. It's like $140 for, I think, 60 pads. You use 1 pad a day. For a lot of people, that's crazy. That's super expensive. It is worth its weight in gold. I would definitely say that one is one. As far as like moisturizers and stuff like that, I don't have really, I mean, I have some that I love to splurge on, but there's so many amazing affordable ones that I'm like, I don't know. I think that if you like to splurge, you like to splurge, but there's so many awesome affordable ones. A cleanser that is so amazing is This Is Silk. And I found this in London at a shop called John Bell and Croydon. They sell all skincare and devices and all these things. And I took it back to my hotel and I used it that night. And I seriously was like, how many of these can I get? Because at the time they didn't ship to the United States. Now it's sold at Nordstrom. And so it doesn't matter anymore. But at that time it wasn't. I literally was like, do I go back there and buy 3 more? It's $85. And I literally was like, I didn't. I was like, hold your jets here. It's so worth the splurge. It is such a beautiful experience to cleanse your skin with that. And if you want a splurge, that's worth a splurge. I think so. On the flip side, you can definitely get your skin perfectly cleansed with Cetaphil. Honestly, you absolutely can. Prequel, Cleanser, all of those things are amazing too. You do not have to be rich to have good skin, period. You definitely don't, but those are splurge worthy for sure.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you answering that, because we do like to know like products that are actually good and that work and that we don't have to spend a fortune. But every once in a while, it's just good to know what is a good splurge. So you are so, an hour goes by so fast with you, and you answered so many questions. And I really appreciate everything that you brought to us today and all these good recommendations and good ideas. And I want to thank the audience, you guys, the community. Thank you guys so much for participating and asking questions while we've got Penn. And she does have a Facebook group on her Facebook page. You can check that out at Penn Smith. It's Penn Smith Skincare on Facebook as well, right?
Yes.
Yes. Check her out.
And I'm hoping, Jody, that you're going to come and be on my channel. And so I'm inviting anybody who's watching this, if, just check out my channel, and I'm going to have Jody. I'm going to pick your brain about all things makeup and beauty and all of the good stuff. I'm so excited to reciprocate and have you over on my channel too.
Oh, well, thanks. I'd be happy to. I can talk about blush and all kinds of good products
right?
coming out.
We could talk about this stuff all day. I could talk about makeup all day, but not like skincare. But I could definitely ask you questions all day.
Well, yeah, you know everything. So I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And you guys, thank you. Of course, you were just, anytime you want to come back, we do it once a month. Anytime you want to come back, you always have an open invitation. Well, you guys, thanks so much for watching. If you didn't start at the beginning, this will be posted on the channel, so you can always go back and check it out. And then just give us about 24 hours and we will put all these products that Penn talked about in the description box, so you can check those out for yourself as well. And as always, I appreciate you guys being here. It's so fun to interact with you. It's the best part of the job.
100%.
So I will see you guys again real soon. Thanks, Penn.
Thank you.